Okay, well, welcome everybody, and thank you very much for joining us. I hope you've had a good conference so far. Thanks also to the organisers for inviting us to participate, particularly as we're such a young company. Right, well, without further ado, we'd like to tell you about how we're using AI to solve one of the biggest challenges in influencer marketing. First things first is the quick introduction. My name is George Issaias. I'm the CMO and co-founder of AIfluence, and Nelson Aseka will also be joining for the Q&A. He's the CEO and co-founder of AIfluence. Just a little bit of a background on myself. I was the business development director of a global creative agency, working out of the London office, and my regions were EMEA. And moved back to Kenya, where I was born about 6 years ago, and set up a events, marketing, digital music distribution company and a talent agency rolled into one, which I'm happy to say has now become one of the regional sort of leading players. And Nelson was, I think it's fair to say, and sparing his blushes, probably has done most to build the premium whiskey category in East Africa, and his time, many years spent with Pernod Ricard. But this isn't about us. This is about what we can do for you. And so, yeah, we'd like to tell you about how we've built a platform to solve one of the biggest challenges. And at the heart of that platform is this belief that people are living media. When Nelson and I first set up the company, and we obviously did our research, when we looked at the statistics that I'm about to show you now, and actually even in the course of the last 18 months to 2 years that we first looked at this, the world seems to have moved on, a great deal. And I'm happy to say that the trends have kind of worked in our favor. But as I'm sure most of you know, 71%, a very, very high degree of consumers purchase based on social media influence. And the size of the influencer marketing industry is growing a great deal. I mean, there's a little bit of a COVID bump here, but actually this trend looks to continue over the next couple of years at least. One of the reasons is, and this is a major factor, is the ad blocking costs to advertisers. And it's huge. Digital advertising seems to have kind of gone off a cliff. And then other aspects of marketing, such as experiential and live, have also been massively affected by COVID. So when we look at this research, it seems that most roads lead to influencer marketing for us. So this is the kind of a starting point for us, this research and the trends. And we looked at, I guess, like any good tech startup would, what is the problem that needs solving? And we zeroed in on one thing, and that is ROI, and measuring ROI. I wish that we're in a live environment and I could ask for a show of hands to whether you agree with this or not, but most of our research sort of tells us the same thing, that determining the ROI of influencer marketing is the single biggest pain point for brand marketers. So we lasered in on this and built a platform to try and solve this particular problem. And we used AI in order to do that. And one of the things that we found was that the accuracy of our predictions for campaigns was really, really high. And in fact, a lot of our clients were sort of pretty stunned by it. And I'm not saying we have a crystal ball, but we think we built something that's pretty close to it. And ultimately, this is a platform that was created by brand marketers, primarily Nelson and myself, and many years of experience in marketing across Africa. Curated for brand managers, such as some of you in the room listening, or wherever you are listening. Okay, so how does it work? So this really is the heart of our presentation. In fact, I might even reduce my annoying talking head in the corner, just less distractions. Right, how does it work? Well, there's 4 stages that we follow when we're building our campaigns. The first is that's finding the target audience and finding the influencers to match that. Now, everything else that follows, measuring and predicting, all stems from the rigor and the science that we apply to this phase. We know that a major pain point for brand managers is finding the right influencer with the right key demographic and with a natural affinity for the brand. And we also know that the current spectrum of digital, social media, research agencies can only provide you with they can provide significant insights into audience and influencer, but only to a point. And they have a limit, and keyword searches to find the right influencer, has a limit. So we built a platform that starts at that limit and brings you something that we don't think anybody else out there can. So we built the platform that was born from essentially a foundation of enhanced neural linguistic processing and artificial neural networks. And we developed an advanced algorithm that now enables us to conduct, frankly speaking, what we believe is next level psychographic, behavioral, and sentiment analysis of our target audiences. There are many data points that can be looked at when researching audiences and influencers. And we zeroed the algorithm into approximately 200 that we filtered down to, that we think are the highest priority and of the most value to brand marketers. And we know this or believe it to be true because of our own research and experience and the many, many interviews and anecdotal feedback that we've had from within Kenya and beyond. So to give you an example, if we had a brief from Nike, for example, they may want us to conduct research into audiences that and consumers that demonstrate high levels of creativity, self-expression, harmony, or excitement. So those would be the data points that we will dial up for this particular campaign. And to give you a real-life example, we were recently approached by an American government agency to try and stem the flow of misinformation and sort of harmful information around COVID-19 around Kenya. So we developed a campaign with partners, and our partners developed a mass media campaign, and our role was to take the content from that mass media campaign and try and reach the, I guess, the last person in the chain on Facebook, and this person would be in a hyper-rural environment, for example, the northern part of Kenya, and use that person as a vehicle to share truthful information about COVID. But in order to do that, we had to make sure that that person had high levels of IQ, of objectivity, and was trusted. And we deployed the platform to understand those aspects and those data points. Then that person would share the truthful information to offline communities who he would engage with on a day-to-day basis, be they an activist or a kiosk owner, and that person would then feed back to us through our relationship managers, and more on that later. So two very different briefs, two very different sets of data that we had to explore, but hopefully that gives you an idea as to the breadth of the capability of the platform. So ultimately, we find a fit with influencers that have a natural affinity for the brand. If they were, they'd be in a much better position to sell the brand, and will feel a lot more authentic. And this really sort of turns the tide. I guess it's a reaction to what we certainly find in Kenya, where people are turning their backs to celebrity endorsers. There have been so many PR crises around, I guess, high-profile influencers sharing the wrong message and kicking up a complete storm of bad press. Or through research, we find that an influencer may endorse one bank in the morning and then a completely different bank in the afternoon. So really, it has to be a natural affinity and a natural connection to that brand. Again, we use the data points to connect influencers with their target audience, and done in the right way, that connection is a lot deeper and a lot stronger. And what we found is that actually when a campaign ends, the influencers that we deploy and enroll onto the campaign approach us, knocking on our door and literally saying, what else can I do? Now, often that campaign might be around health issues, for example, where people feel really passionate about family planning, for example, in a slum area. But because we reach the right people, the engagement levels are very high, and the people that we convert to become an influencer are also much higher than a lot of typical services out of the market. And finally, one of the things that we find absolutely crucial is checking the influencer profile, looking at the way that they share messages, the reaction from their networks to those messages, and also make sure that we understand whether or not their followers are fake or real, and whether or not they've had any other brand allegiances over the last 3 to 5 years, for example. And so this all essentially results in meaningful engagement, and that, I guess, is the holy grail for any campaign. We thought we might use an influencer here to I guess, illustrate our capability a little bit. Algie is somebody we worked with the last couple of months. We're driving social impact campaigns across Kenya. And whilst the campaigns haven't ended yet, the tracking so far has been pretty phenomenal. And Algie has been working across Africa for many years. And so it was great to have this, I guess, vote of confidence from somebody who sort of knows what they're doing and what they're talking about. The next phase is manage. So this is managing the influencers and managing the campaigns. This is where the sort of human element meets the tech platform. We deploy a team of creator success managers. So the process for onboarding an influencer is that once they've been identified, they'll receive a notification and a link to follow. That will take them to a microsite, a protected microsite, where they'll sign an NDA. Once that happens, they'll get the campaign brief, and once they've read that and they want to participate, they'll sign a contract. Now, upon signing the contract, they'll be allocated a relationship manager, or we call a creator success manager. And in a country such as Kenya, with so many different ethnic and religious groups, we make sure that the relationship manager is aligned to that person according to the ethnicity and religion of that person, because then the communication that we disseminate can be adapted for that particular geographic territory of that influencer and for his network. Another advantage that we have here is that when it comes to incentivizing influencers, and this is a huge advantage for campaigns run across Africa, is that we can pay them either using some of the perks of a client. For example, we're working with Kenya Airways now, who are incentivizing through free flights, or it can be done via sending airtime or mobile money, like with M-Pesa in Kenya. And this allows us to kick off cross-border campaigns very, very quickly and get things started within about 10 days to 2 weeks. And another advantage that we have in Kenya, and I think this occurs in a lot of other countries across Africa, is that Facebook, for example, have deals with the telcos, and in Kenya's case would be Safaricom, where use of Facebook, such as streaming videos, is all data cost free. And I believe MTN have the same service, and the 10, 12 or so countries that they operate in. So this is definitely a huge plus point. We also then start with essentially kick off the campaign, and we can do it incrementally. We can take a little bit of messaging, send it out, test it, hear back from the influencer, and that might even be a conversation with the creative success managers. And then once we feel that the messaging has been finessed enough and has been adapted to the different territories and the different groups that we're dealing with, then we roll out the campaign to more influencers, and we see the results that come in real time, in actually a very, very detailed way. And we'd love to talk you through this this interface. If you'd like to get in touch with us following this presentation, we'll be happy to show you this. So measure is, again, really what it all boils down to. And, often some of the brand marketers we speak to, they know what they want to measure, but they're not sure how, or they might not have thought that, there's some things that are indeed measurable. So we essentially distill measurement around 4 types of campaigns, which are attention campaigns, interest, action, and content. And this is really just a fraction of the things that we can look at. But of course, we can build campaign according to what's a priority for our brand marketers, clients. And often we're asked to look at like farms and to understand where essentially fake stats and fake numbers are coming from, and to conduct that kind of audit before we kick off a campaign. So that might be a brand approaching us to confirm the validity of an influencer that they'd like to target, or indeed to conduct similar scrutiny and audit over potential influencers that they'd like to engage in a campaign. And of course, the result is the ability to predict the efficacy of a campaign, such as Karen's quote here, where we essentially came 93% close to what the objectives that we were set, and we told her that would be in that region from the beginning of the work that we conducted. So as I said, we're still a young company, growing very fast, We're midway through most of the campaigns that we're running, but in terms of tracking, it's been pretty phenomenal. So to summarize, we're the first fully automated end-to-end influencer marketing platform, the first to deliver across the entire metric funnel, the first to analyze any African language, including slang, and the first to manage campaigns on WhatsApp and Telegram as well. So our offering to our clients is essentially structured around these three services. So driving impactful and wide-reaching awareness campaigns for products and services, and then delivering hyper-qualified key demographic and high-value leads every time, and curating audience personalized campaigns that deliver high sales conversion metrics. So as I said, we are a very young company. We're formed at the end of last year. The platform went live in March. We got a lot of raised eyebrows to some of the assertions that we were making from the market, essentially. So we decided to offer prospective clients pilot programs and small research projects free of charge, just to prove the efficacy of the platform. And pretty much 100% of those pilot programs led to being awarded the actual campaigns themselves. So our first campaigns were awarded in June. By July, we're working with one of the biggest companies and certainly the biggest telco in Kenya, Safaricom, running national campaigns for them, and the third biggest bank in Kenya. In August, awarded major campaigns for British and US government agencies, which were piloted in Kenya, proven to be very successful, and seem to be about to be rolled out across Africa. These are just a selection of some of the clients that we're working with in August and going forward. Our sales has been great. We seem to be doubling in sales month on month, and the projections for December onwards are actually, really. We're completely stunned by it. But the only reason that this is happening is our success and the accuracy of the platform. And for the three major campaign results that we've had so far, we've proven that we can achieve 20% conversion rates against the industry standard. This is a global standard of 3% for micro-influencers and 1% for macro-influencers. So again, we'd love to tell you more about the platform. We'd love to show you a demo, talk you through the client interface and some of the things that we can analyze. And if you have a pilot for us or any kind of research that you need done, we'd love that too. Challenge us. We really back ourselves. We love the opportunity to demonstrate how capable the platform is. And we look forward to any questions. Thank you very much for your time.